forge metal. And you're probably thinking to yourself, I got no burner, I got no forge, I got no anvil. Well, that's what I thought too for the longest time. I always wanted to forge metal. Well, quick background. I am a structural ironworker out of Edmonton, Alberta. Out of local union 720, repping the wear. I've been a member of that local for the past 19 years. In that time, I've picked up a few skills. You know, we're the guys that put up structural buildings, skyscrapers, bridges. We do some ornamental work. Pretty much we do it all if it has to do with structural metal. Right down even to the concrete. The rebar that's in the concrete, that's us. In that time, I've always wanted to dabble in the ornamental and not just welding and scrolling. I mean, that's great and that's fine and that's fun. But I've always wanted to get into what I think is the original, the blacksmithing, the actual forging and shaping of raw, molten, well, not molten, raw, malleable metal. Steel. I always told myself I don't have the tools, I don't have what I need, I'm working too many hours, I can't get her done. Well, lucky for me, industry in Alberta kind of went in the dumps lately, and I find myself with a lot of time and not a lot of excuses anymore to try it out. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll probably saw a couple weeks ago I went down to Daysland, Alberta, down by Camrose, and under the expert tutelage of Ethan Hardy, you can find him here on YouTube. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, all the lovely social medias I'm still dabbling in and trying to figure out. Anyway, I went down there and I took a 4-day class. His tools to build tools. This beautiful hammer right here, we built that. This was the first, one of the first projects we did. This was him directing and me sledging, and I can tell you, I thought I'd have no problem swinging a sledge, being as I've done it for years and years and years in the ironworking industry. Well, that young man showed me a thing or two. He's an excellent teacher, and if you are in the mood to learn blacksmithing, get down there and give him a call. There's lots of places to stay down there. He has a wonderful setup on his family farm, and he is a great teacher. Anyway, back to this video. As you probably know, because you probably found it searching for it, you probably see the title. It probably says something along the lines of building a forge burner. So that's what we're going to do today. Specifically, we are going to be building a Venturi forge, or forge burner. Now, this is the Ron Riel design that I found on the internet. There's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of things you'll be able to find on it. I will definitely provide all the links below. And I guess the one caveat, if you try doing what I'm showing you to do and you burn your house down, not my fault. Anyway, let's scope over the table. So a quick rundown of the Venturi Effect. Essentially, we're going to be building an hourglass. And that's going to be our burner. Very simple. Gas is going to come in from the top. It's going to mix with air. And all these things are going to go in. Now the gas is going to be pressured. And when it comes to this little narrowing of the hourglass, the only way for the gas to get through there is to change its pressure and to speed up. And it races through there. All this gas is forced and races through. And that creates a speed up, and it creates an air mixture, and that's what gets our fire hot. Now that's just a basic layman's terms. I'm not an expert in this by any means. Most of this I've found on the internet, and I'm sure there's way more in-depth explanations of the Venturi Effect if you are really interested in it, in the ultra sophisticated mathematics that are involved in it. But that's the basics. What this essentially is going to do is going to allow us to not have a blower on our forge burner. No electricity to hook up, no extra pipes from the bottom, no traps to clean out. Nice down and dirty straight from the top heat. Get it in there. How we're going to make this? We are going to use pipe that you can pick up at your local Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever you got near you. You are going to need a 3/4 to 1 inch reducer. That's going to be the top of our hourglass. We are going to need an 8 inch or a 3/4 nipple. It's the final length is going to be 8 inches. I got a long one because I'm going to cut it down and I'm going to end up making 2 burners here. So that's going to be the top of our hourglass. And then you're going to need a 1 inch nipple, at least 3 inches long. I found a 5 inch. We're going to cut her down to 3. And that's going to be our hourglass. Now to inject the propane into this system, you're going to need some copper piping from the same place. And you're probably not going to find the exact lengths, so I mean, play around, see what you can find. You're going to need at least a 4 inch brass nipple. I found, I think, a 6 inch. You are going to need a way to plug one end. Now I wish I could say my Home Depot had a female that would fit over the end, but it didn't. So I found a 90-degree female and a male plug. So that's going to block that end. Now you need a way to get the gas to here. What I have is an old salvaged Tiger Torch propane regulator with this hose. And I still have the, and I changed out the attachment for a 1/4 inch, which I'll use that coupler, and I have a reducer here somewhere. There we go, there's my reducer. And that reducer will get us down from 1/4 inch to 1/8. And lickety split, it all adds up nice and neat as could do. Now if you really want to get yourself into a pickle like me, we can double everything. And we can add 90s and T's and all this fun stuff. And I'd tell you exactly what I'm using, but it's not going to come in handy because when you get to your Home Depot, you're going to be going through there and people are going to put the wrong things in the wrong bags and the wrong things are going to be on the wrong hooks and they're not going to have exactly what you needed. You're just going to have to make shift. Essentially, what you're going to be doing after we build the first one, you are going to want to connect this tube to a second tube with all these fancy little attachments and whatever you can figure out. Now, I've also thrown in a pressure gauge. It is not necessary, but hey, in the effort of science, I'd like to know what my pressure's at. So, let's start cutting some of these pieces down. So here we are, we have all our parts cut. We got our 3 inch by 1 inch. We got our 3/4 pipe by 8 inch long. We got our reducers. So now, before we start assembling these, we're going to drill the holes to get our gas pipe through here. Luckily, these come with these nice little forge lines, so we can just use them as guides so we can hit both sides in the right spot. Flip her over, same thing on the other side, right where those two lines meet. This one's got a little lump of stuff on there. That's what the drill bit can't take care of. Or not. Right through. So to get that pipe, we're going to go up to a 3/8 after we do our pilot hole. stay in there. What would be the fun in that? And we already got a pilot hole on the other side. We'll just keep going right through. Boom. Do a big old test fit here. And lo and behold, the internet finally lied to me. Imagine that. Okay. So we'll step it up one more size. That was a 3/8. Or here. Let's try a little trick that I sometimes do. Should have done this to get-go. If you have a drill bit box like this, or like any drill bit box, take the size of whatever you're sticking through the hole and just check them. If I would have done that, I would have noticed it doesn't go in the 3/8 hole. But what it does go in is the 1332. Let's give that one a shot. If I can find where I put it. Right there. And this is why I said some things might not work out if I just gave you a parts list. Nothing is always the same. And now we'll see if it goes in its hole. Boom, bingo bango. And we're going to tap a hole right here and then put a nut in there, and that's going to be our locking nut. We're going to drill that burner hole now. Your burner hole is going to be tiny. That's going to be a number 57. Number 57 drill bit. It's not even in inches. It's a number 57. This thing is minuscule. You're probably going to have to buy this. Get it on Amazon. You can get it cheap. Buy more than one. Because I haven't used one yet, but I have a very sneaky suspicion I'm going to break it. Because this thing can't even get... I can't even get this in here. This might be an issue. So after some technical difficulties, we've moved over to the drill press. Apparently my hand drill didn't have a small enough chuck for these number 57 drill bits. So, we've secured this all in. This is secured in. Make sure your drill bit is really high up into that chuck. You don't want too much length or it's going to wobble back and forth. And we are going to drill a hole through one half of this, one wall of the copper pipe, brass pipe. What we do, we don't really care where it is because we can adjust this pipe back and forth. We can turn it left and right. It's not that big of a deal at this present time. All we want to do is be extra careful because this is a tiny bit and prone to snap. Number 2. Like I said, prone to snap. So now we got our little drills and our burners. Those are in there. We got 2 more holes to drill and tap, and those are going to be for our 1-inch, 3-inch, 1-inch nipples that are 3 inches long. They're going to be the bottom of our hourglass. See, they slide on fairly good, but they move. So this is just going to be another tap. If you have a welder, you could probably weld it. I want this to be able to come apart eventually. So we'll get those out of the way. Never fails, we run out of space. Should have cleared the camera. Anyway, like I was saying, there's our 2 burners. And this is going to be 9 inches long, which with 2 bricks end to end, that'll split the difference on each brick. Okay, we got a propane tank hooked up, regular on, hose, everything's set, everything's tight, everything's good to go. We're ready to test this baby out. Always remember your safety gear. Okay. They suck. They don't fit. Anyway, we will put on some gloves, and we will get our striker ready. Let's give some propane. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! They're like twin dragons! Now those are some burners. Now, a little bit of behind the scenes. I tricked you. I did test it once. You will find when you're setting up, if this pipe is too far down, it'll choke itself out. So you might have to play with the length of your bottom of your hourglass. But when you find it, when you find that sweet spot, she'll work. Well, I'm halfway there. What do? Valiant, might as well use them. You know what? This is one thing. It's not right. Well, I hope this has been helpful, educational, and maybe even a little bit entertaining. Just remember, keep the forge hot and your drinks cold. Back in the garage, new day for me, same day for you. like most things I do, I end up tinkering some more with it, and I can't leave well enough alone. I'll run you through a few of the little tweaks I did. These are not necessary at all. They will make your burner more efficient, but they aren't necessary for where we left off. So first of all, as you can see, I loosened everything off from yesterday, and I put yellow pipe tape on the all the joints. That'll and tighten everything up a little extra tight from where we left it. But the major changes are, so if you remember on the back end, we drilled this, tapped this screw to hold our copper pipe in place and our hole pointed straight down. So what I did was I took a little piece of plate I had, cut a square, I tapped that same hole and I threaded it through there. And I'll show you when we fire this up. This will allow us to take this from just a basic non-oxidizing flame all the way back up to our forge flame. Now, on the other end, you'll remember these were just the 1-inch overslots we had. And like I said, you had to find that sweet spot to get that to burn properly. Now, what I've done is, if you remember a Venturi was an hourglass, I've taken 1.5 inch pipe, because if you go to the links I provide, they'll say to flare 1.5 inch. Now, if you don't have a forge, obviously we're building one, you don't have a forge to do that with. If you have a rosebud, you could probably do it. If you have a welder, you can do what I did. And don't look at the welds. I can weld to make things stick. I can't make them look pretty. I don't claim to call myself a welder at all. I took that one of these 1-inch pipes and I threaded it in there, and I welded 1.5 inch pipe on here, and that will give us our bottom bell. Now this will give us a lot more leniency, and it'll also produce a more efficient flame. Once again, this will be fine if you don't have a rosebud, you don't have any way to heat this up, if you don't have any way to weld this. This will work just fine. Me being a constant tinkerer, I took it up to another level. So I'll set that back to where the other one is, and I'll fire this up for you. And I'll show you all the adjustability you got. So as you can see, with this closed, you have a non-oxidizing flame, and as you crank her open, there's our dragon again. Same thing with number 2. Back up to our dragon's roar. And as you can see here, I'll play with this one a little bit. You have a lot more adjustability where it's not going to sputter out. There you have it. Those are the tweaks we did. Good luck with your build, and we'll see you again next time, and I'll definitely I'll show you my forge as it goes together. So you want to create a gas burner. That sucked. Recording, is it? Oh, it is too. I've been... Blue. Tap that hole. That is a tapped hole. It's like putting on... Oh, see, I got cocky.